Evening, everyone, and welcome to the January 22nd regular board meeting. We'll call the meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. Our roll call tonight, we have Simon excused and Rob excused. We have Jean joining us via Zoom. Everyone else is in attendance. I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda tonight. I'd like to remove the executive session number 7 from the agenda. It's not needed tonight.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Tom. All in favor of the revised agenda? And Jean as well? Spencer,
Yes, me too.
Okay, all right, good, thank you. That's unanimous. I'd also like to appoint tonight Linda as our secretary since Tiny's out. Anybody have any, all good with that? All right. Very good, thank you, Linda, for volunteering.
Okay.
Are we all good? Yeah. Wise?
Yes.
Okay, we're all good. All right, item 1, adoption of the amended agenda.
Second.
Thank you, Linda. All in favor of the adoption of the agenda?
Aye.
Amended agenda. That's unanimous, thank you. I might have already asked you that anyways. Any announcements tonight from any board members? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to 3, property owner comments. We have any property owner comments tonight? None, okay. State your name and address and 3 minutes.
My name is Jeff Knackle. I live in Gate 1, 17 Farson Place. I'm also one of your water commissioners. Okay, and what I'm here to talk to you tonight about is the Lake Walk Management Program. Is anybody familiar with that program?
Yeah, I sat next to you on the committee over there.
Okay, yeah. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention. So that just a quick history. That Lake Watcom Management Program was started in the 1990s to work to protect Lake Watcom. It was made up of the city, the county, and the water district. So it had programming included all of those. It was formalized by an interlocal agreement between those entities in 1998. Also in 1998, the Department of Ecology determined that the lake did not meet clean water requirements for dissolved oxygen and some other pollutants and that kind of thing. So by the Clean Water Act, they required a program to obtain a total maximum daily load. You might hear that term a lot, TMDL. Yeah, so as part of that, the management program created the Lake Watcom Policy Group. Just another thing. And so that's a high-level leadership and strategic direction advisory group. It was made up of 2 representatives from the county council, 2 representatives from the city council, 1 representative from the water district. And in 2012, they added a seat at that table for Sun Valley Community Association. So that organization, that policy group meets every other month, basically. It was created just for high-level leadership and strategic direction. It coordinates policy across all those jurisdictions. Right. So in 2012, they recognized, hey, Sun Valley represents a big portion of the population around the lake. They should be present or have access to that policy board. So what I'm here to tell you is you have 1 seat at that table, so you can have one of you can attend those meetings and participate in those discussions. It's actually kind of an interesting discussion. You get to sit in with some of the the county council, the city council, and get to kind of see the inner workings of those governments and some of their discussions. So anyway, let's see if I have anything else on here. I've got the understanding that people in that group, that policy group, change each year. So the county, the city, and the water district will appoint a new person. Usually it's the same person, but sometimes there's some turnover in that. So they decided to create a policy group welcome packet. I've got one copy of that. I can leave it if you want. I can also send it to you if you like.
If you could send it electronically, I would appreciate that.
I can- yeah,
Sudden Valley.
I can do that.
To Joanne.
Let me find out. They kind of sent me an advanced copy, so let me, and I can probably send, I mean, there's nothing in here that's
Related to national security.
Nothing we're gonna get arrested for. I mean, the only thing we're gonna do is make the lake a little cleaner. But you know, there are a lot of things like the AIS program comes out of this policy group, right? So it's things that affect people in Sun Valley, affect, you know, what goes on at the marina. You know, who knows what, a lot of the forest management around the lake, you know, one of the issues we've discussed is the city has purchased a lot of property around the lake, and how is that forest managed? And then we get reports on that kind of thing. So a lot of interesting information on the lake, the health of the lake, programs. There's actually now they've got a more formalized plan. There's actually 12 program areas. You know, they're around land use, monitoring, the AIS program, and a number of other things that are all coordinated between all these jurisdictions. So some of those things like the AIS program, they want to change the fees on that. Well, the Lake Watkin Policy Group, we basically all agreed to that, but the city of Bellingham had to go and actually change their code to implement those new fees. So that's, you know, sometimes different organizations or different groups.
Jeff, can you tell the board when the meetings are typically held?
It's, let me think. It's every other month on a Wednesday usually. I'd have to get you the schedule. If you're interested, I'll get you the whole schedule for the year. I don't have that with me right now.
My remembrance is that they're daytime meetings though? They're not after the workday, they're during the day?
Yeah, I'm thinking they were usually like 3 o'clock
Yeah.
in the afternoon.
Is that what you guys are doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have received an email regarding this.
Oh, have you? Okay.
And it hasn't hit any of our agendas, but we have all of our committee assignments now. So I think that the board can, in our next session, if you agree, Keith, I can put it on the agenda and they can vote.
Absolutely, yeah.
Someone. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to appoint someone too. It's valuable there. So I was
I know,
there.
I did see you once, Keith.
Yeah,
I saw Rick Asai was there once.
Yeah, so that's what happened. So when I was gone, Rick Asai got appointed to the
Okay.
group. And then, Rick is no longer on the board, so.
Right.
As of November.
Yeah.
But I did receive an email today, I can't recall who it was from, but it was regarding a meeting in April.
Yeah, there's the staff at the city usually organizes those meetings, and you know they're usually at the operations center, which is over on, what's that, Pacific? Off of Iowa. You go down Iowa, like the last light.
Specific.
Before there's an operations center, you go off Pacific on the left there.
Well, thank you for the information on that.
Absolutely.
We'll get it back onto our agenda for next time.
Yeah, any questions, you know, you can contact me, or certainly Justin Clary is very involved. You know, he usually attends the meetings with me as the staff. So there's usually a lot of, beside the electeds, there's all the staff that back those people up that are involved in the meeting, and they do most of the work. So we just give them a little direction. They go off and work, come back and say, here's what we came up with, and we say, that looks good.
Question, are you our elected, appointed Sudden Valley representative on the water district?
Yeah, so there are 5 water commissioners. They're each elected from a specific geographic area. So we represent the whole district, but you need to have one commissioner from each area. My area is Gate 1, Gate 2, and a little sliver of Gate 3.
So do you know who has the other rest of it? I think even for some of us way up in Gate 5, at one time had someone that represents North Shore as a commissioner because of the geographical layout.
Yeah, I know it's on our website, I think, yeah, let me think who, yeah, I'm not sure exactly where the boundaries are and who's.
I just wondered if you were one of our commissioners.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but all 5 of us represent everybody in the district, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, you can really call any of us if you have any questions about the water district.
Yeah, shoot an email. All right, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 4 is our consent agenda, which is approval of the meeting minutes for January 8th, 2026. You'll find that on page 2. Is there any questions or issues with those? No, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous, very good. Okay, item 5 was reports, we have none this meeting. Speed right along to continuing business. Item number 6A is committee appointments. I'll start out first, I know Jean is she a
Linda has
representative? And Linda too, right?
I have the members of the DRC that I need to have the board approve.
Very good. All right, so I'm gonna go with, I'll start it. I would like to appoint Joanne to our Long Range Planning Committee as our staff member. And Joanne has agreed, just so you know, I'm not forcing her.
I'll second.
It was silent, wasn't it? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. All right, Jean or Linda, who would like to go next?
Go ahead, Jane.
So we're making appointments to our committees?
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. So, yeah, I'd like to appoint John Greenrich and Marty LGIT.
we had those.
We
last
did
week.
that last-
Yeah, those are the
We
same
did it
ones.
last week.
Okay, well, I don't have any new ones.
You don't have any other members,
No,
correct?
I don't have any other
Okay.
members.
Okay.
Very good, thank you, Jean. If you say another John, how do you spell his last name again? Linda?
So, I would like to have the following, community members approved by the board to serve on the document review committee this year. Ann Meter, Lish Jamtas, and Mitch Waterman, besides myself and Tiny.
Who was the second one? Oh, Lish.
Lish.
You make me spell that name anyways, aren't you?
I confirm that those
Oh,
members are in good
They're
standing.
vetted, yes.
Okay, that's Linda. Need a second?
Second.
Thank you, Joe. All in favor of those members who have been vetted to join the document review committee?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. Very good.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
I have one matter regarding committees that I don't know if we try and tackle it tonight. So we were talking about a lot of the members for the committees were approved last meeting. We added Joe to the N&E committee.
Correct.
That currently makes 6 of them. The bylaws say we are to have 5. So,
So N&E currently has 6 committees now.
Yes.
Or 6 members.
yes, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the only one that was elected is Rob. I think the other are all volunteers. And that's.
Michael and Rob were both elected.
Were they both elected? Okay.
Put it down now, it's on January 1st.
Well, it's weird because there's that strange thing in the N&E thing that says, and now
Until you're.
what Kiowa says, you serve until your replacement is elected.
But with the new law change, so January 1st, it didn't matter if you were elected or not, all members have to be appointed by the board.
Yeah, I
So
know,
did
but
the board appoint all 6 of those members?
Yes.
yes,
They have.
yes,
So what I would suggest is that When are you guys getting together?
I think not until in February now, as I understand it, our January meeting's been canceled.
Might you be able to have a conversation prior just to make sure all 6 still want to be in there? Maybe one was just doing it to, for a certain.
Could do
maybe there's
that
someone
in
who
an
just
email
wants
to everybody, that would work. I'll
Okay.
talk to Rob.
Very good, let's do that.
Thanks, I just want to get that straightened out.
Thank you.
Does it say limited to 5
It
members?
says that there will be 5 members on the N&E committee. Said that for forever.
So it's not, no room for a 6th or 7th?
No. We can take
We can
volunteers.
put another chair, but the rules say.
We can take like volunteers to help with counting and stuff like that, but the basic members of the committee, there have to be 5 of us just.
Okay, perfect, let's move on.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, thank you. All right, I want to give you guys, this is an update on the recreation corridor construction, basically Pavilion 6. I was hoping to have plan check comments by today, but I won't have them until next week sometime. The gentleman that's providing those for me, he's on vacation, and we'll return next week. So we had a Zoom meeting on January 8th at 10 o'clock in the morning. We had 13 people from the county representing all the various agencies from the county, as well as Mitch Knowles from the fire department. We had Quentin from Carletti and Associates, as well as myself in the meeting. So the takeaways from the meeting is very quick, and I'll have actually the detailed comments coming up, because there are going to be a lot of comments, as you can imagine, a lot of people. The biggest thing they wanted to be concerned about, that this was going to stay as a community use building only, which it is. The footprint can't be any larger than the existing footprint that's there now for Barn 6. Special zoning permits not required. We do have to do a shoreline exemption review. That's just to verify that the building was there prior to 1975, which we know it was, but that's just part of their normal process we have to go through. The standard building permits are going to be required, demo permit and so forth. A separate review is required, but there's nothing to expect from that according to them. It's just part of the process. There's no wetlands mitigation review, is not required. We did inquire, actually it was asked, the lady asked particularly about a kitchen, if they're putting a kitchen in there or just a break room. And we both said, Quentin and myself, just a break room. And does it matter? So we asked, does it matter? Why did you ask that question? And I'm not sure why, because she said it doesn't matter. You could do it. But it was just weird to ask the question and then say it didn't matter. So, but I just wanted to verify that, and she said it doesn't matter if we put a kitchen or a break room in there, it doesn't matter. The fire department had no issues with it. This building that we're proposing would be sprinkled, so of course the fire department is probably pleased. We did have a couple design issues. It's not really big ones, but it can only be 25 foot high within 100 feet of the creek at that point. Anything over 100, we can go to 35 feet tall, over 100 feet away. But that's not a really big deal, because we're really not sure on that height yet anyways, and 25 feet is probably what we're at over there now, which is probably high enough. We can go higher if we wanted to. They said that wouldn't be an issue, but it would require further review. Now, one of the things about the review is I asked in particular, is a timeline. What's the timeline on once we get something submitted to them, how long is it going to take? And the answer came back anywhere between 4 to 6 months. So keep in mind, that's first round plan check comments. Sorry, I should be looking this way too. That's first round plan check comments. Typically, on projects like this, you might go 2 or 3 rounds. They do get quicker, right? So the next one might be a month out or so. But typically, it's like 2 or 3 rounds you go through. The proposed project we have currently on our books is like a pre-engineered building. So those do go a little quicker. Everything's kind of a package, so it's already engineered and everything like that. So it'll speed things up a bit. But the interior improvements that we're going to want to do, we have to do bathrooms and so forth and things like that. The bathroom count came up because it depends on occupancy load. So that's something that Quentin and I spoke about after this meeting. We had a little conversation about occupant load over there, parking, typical things. These always come up in buildings. Because of this use of this particular building as a community center, they're asking for parking 1 stall per 100 feet. That's really kind of significant. Commercial parking, like for offices, is 1 for every 250 feet. So it's a high thing, and so we have the room. I went and looked at it. I'm sure we got the room over there, but that's something that we're going to have to look at. And maybe we pare the building down if we need to. There's other ways to get around this, so I just wanted to bring that up. It's one of our things we'll be working on. And I put on here, need to verify with Mike on the parking stalls, how many we have, how many we can get in there. There was a report that was done by Impact Design, a study from 2022, which they said would be relevant to this structure, so that'll save us some time as well, getting some further work done. But that's really all I have on it. Like I said, nothing written. When I do have that, I'll send it out to the board so everyone can see the comments. It went really well, quite honestly. It went very well. I was worried with how many people showed up at this thing. I was like, oh gosh. Usually everybody's got something to say. And they all did, but they all came back and said, no, we're good. We don't have any problems. And yeah, so it was a very, very good meeting, and it went well. So now I want you guys to think about that a little bit. I'm going to get the comments this week, which will help, further information. But we need to start thinking about what we want to do. So I think our first meeting, and did we put that on the agenda? Right?
For February.
Yeah, our first meeting in February, we're going to be discussing this more in detail about, how to proceed, how we want to proceed, and things like that. So anyways, I just wanted to give you that quick update.
Question, Mr. President?
Yes, ma'am.
So what does the county deem is our occupancy level for that building?
Well, they're calling it an A3 occupancy right now, and they said it's for 500 people.
I think that's more than the dance barn.
It's probably close.
so.
Do you know what
The
that?
dance barn is posted at 450.
So it's very
Okay.
close, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very close, so.
Okay.
Just because one of the things came out there that it was a emergency center, or emergency shelter was one of the things, and I think that was part of the original long-range planning deal. That's what bumped it way up. So if that is the case, which that was kind of an intent, but the later intent came, we wanted to put an emergency generator on barn 8 because it's got the pool equipment, it's got showers, it did have the kitchen and those types of things here. So in an emergency, you could actually shower and eat and do those things. So if that was to change, that'll change the occupancy over there, but that's something the architect works out and through the county. So we talked to the county a little bit as well, and I expressed that to him there. So he's fine with what the architect comes back with on the plans. He might ask a question about it, but I think we're fine in any direction we go.
Are we gonna have, I know that for the $8 million building, we had a breakdown of all the costs of all the different things and the drawings. Are we gonna get that for the one level
Absolutely.
building?
We'll have to do that.
For
Yeah.
on the first meeting in
Absolutely.
February, okay,
That'll be after part of our discussion actually
Okay.
on February.
works, thank you.
Yep, absolutely. All right, moving on, next to item C, we have a request for approval for the Area Z garden lease that we talked about last year. And Joanne, I'll let you.
Yeah, so during the October 23rd meeting back in 2025, the board directed the GM at the time, Michael Bennett, to revise the standard garden license agreement to include a charge for water. A revised lease was approved by the board at the November 13th meeting, and a copy of the approved agreement was then shared with the Community Garden Club. In response, the club has requested revisions to that agreement. While the attached document does include many, many revisions, as you saw, it was all red. Most of those changes were made to the club rules, which are included in the agreement as Appendix C. Since operational changes made to the club rules do not really affect our agreement, our part of the agreement, we don't need to be too concerned about them. The material changes made to the terms of the lease agreement, however, are sections 2.2, 2.3, and 2.4 were added, and those are rules that are specific to plots 1 and plot 2. And those are just plot 1 and plot 2 are the two different sites for the club. We have one right over across the parking lot here, and then there's one in Area Z. And so that's not really a material change. In section 2.5, they are asking to change the timing of the water cost offset payment to the beginning of each growing season instead of at the end. And this is positive for us, so I don't see any reason to object to that. In section 3, the previous agreement that the board approved included a mutual 30-day termination clause that allowed either party to terminate the agreement after 30 days of notice and there was no requirement for any cause. The revision proposed by the club, however, replaces this easy termination clause with a mutual option for non-renewal. The notice of non-renewal must be given before the end of April of the year preceding the anniversary of the contract signing. So this effectively limits termination to a specific time each year. It is not a good change for Sudden Valley. The change, however, to this termination clause does reflect the fact that gardening is a seasonal activity that primarily takes place between May and September. So if we terminated the agreement with our 30-day notice, as we originally wrote the license, in the middle of the growing season, obviously every gardener's efforts to that point would be wasted. However, from the association's perspective, we need to have flexibility in managing the land that's used by the club. And so I recommend that SVCA does not accept the language change requested by the Community Garden Club, and instead substitute the compromise wording which was proposed by our attorney, Richard Davis. This new language retains the 30-day mutual termination clause, but indicates that SVCA will only invoke it if circumstances make it necessary. And that one particular change was highlighted in yellow so that you could see both the original language, what they wanted to change it to, and then what we changed it to for the third time. So hopefully you've all had a chance to review the document, and at this time I would request that the board approve the revised agreement with the 30-day termination clause retained.
So I'm going to read the motion. Move that the SVCA Board of Directors approve the revised agreement with 30-day termination clause retained.
Second.
Joe Bijou.
Okay.
Any questions or comments regarding our part of the lease? We don't want to get into the garden rules and things, that's between them. Go ahead, Linda.
Okay, we need, since we have 2 community garden clubs, we need to maintain the Area Z name. Because we have the Barn View ones, and I believe they're called the Barn View.
Correct.
Plots, you have one there, I think. So I think that should stay there.
Specifically, please, what?
Plot 1 is Area Z Garden, and
Well-
plot 2 is Barn View.
Linda, what page of the lease?
So just on our page 7.
Okay,
It says they want us to take out they want to delete Area Z Community Garden Club.
Oh, I see, it's crossed out.
but that's not the name of their organization.
But they can't just be, there has to be a way to determine the Barn View ones from, or are they just gonna be called the Community Garden Club?
They're plot 1.
Wait a minute, question, is
Hold
there,
on, hold
oh
on.
yeah, no, I'm confused, are there 2 different garden clubs?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're independently
And so,
operated.
Keep this
Okay.
picture design.
so but this lease is applied to both gardens?
Correct.
Okay, that does get confusing.
That's why they have plot
Yeah.
1 and plot 2
Yeah,
listed in there.
okay.
But what I'm saying is, that both of them have separate licenses. The Barnview Garden had theirs was just clean sweep, no problem. We've been having issues with this ever since this started. And it's just, I really think there should be something that is not just, the Sudden Valley Community Garden Club. Otherwise, and that's why I think Area Z should stay in there. They are in 2 totally different areas. The other thing that I'm curious about is why in their lease agreement, or licensing agreement, they are worried about 2.2, 2.3, and 2.4, which has to do with, as I understand it, the Barnview Gardens. Because it refers to the recreational corridor. So I don't understand why that's been put in there. I'm confused.
Those were requested by the golf course. Because we water at night, so we're asking them not to water at night. They have to water during the day.
But it doesn't apply to the license for the Area Z garden because they use
As Keith has stated, a license agreement was the same for both plots. And the plot at Area Z is plot 1. And that's what we're
I would
talking
have to go
about.
back and look at the barn view one.
And the agreement, they wanna update the agreement so it covers both garden plots, but Area Z is the portion of the club that is signing.
Okay, it's really confusing.
Agreed, but the language is written to accommodate that circumstance.
Okay, so I believe again that the irrigation water reimbursement needs to be at the end of the season. They have now asked to enlarge the area down there. I sent Joanne an email, I didn't get an answer back, so I went down there and looked. The area that they want to now assume, and there are no stakes or anything down there, I simply looked at a very large area that is completely flattened and has mulch all over it, is almost the same size as the current 50 plots that are there. So my question is, have they said how many plots they intend on putting on there?
They haven't asked for that enlargement yet, have they?
Yes, it's in here.
It's in here, and that's
That's in the picture.
It's extremely inexact. I don't think that frankly, I don't think that that's a good way to identify the plots.
It's not, and we specifically told them they needed to stake it, string it, and approach the board with a site plan and show them what they were asking for.
Okay, then what we can do is
Postpone
table
this.
this
Yes.
until they have responded. And Linda, I sent your queries off to my contact, and she has not responded. My understanding is she's out of town.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't.
Yeah, just one specific. Are you done, Linda?
Yeah, I would, if we're gonna postpone it, that's
Yeah,
fine.
we'll have
It's just,
Okay, two questions, just
Go
for my
ahead,
own
Joe.
point of order. One, am I under the understanding that we have two separate but equal garden clubs at Sun Valley?
Two separate garden clubs, yes.
Okay, and are you part of the Barnview Garden Club?
no,
Okay, just making sure, because there seems to be a
Keith
weird
is.
application of rules to either plot when they should be treated they're both garden clubs. I don't know why we would have two separate licenses for two different clubs and why we're negotiating with two different organizations a little bit, or why plot Z people are talking about things that would be on the bar. Like, it seems really weird.
I don't
that
think
we're
they
dividing
did,
the
I
garden.
think what Joanne was
Okay.
stating was that this is actually came from the golf club for these changes
Gotcha.
in the rules, not
Okay.
from the Area Z garden.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
Because it is odd, I agree.
Where
When you read it, you look
We
at
have
it.
two different garden clubs.
That is correct.
Okay.
Directive watering hours came from the golf course, not from Area Z
Right.
request.
So basically, the fact that there is one license agreement that refers to two separate plots
Okay,
ensures that each club is treated the same.
perfect, okay.
And that's why they are including the golf prohibitions on watering and access in this agreement, because we want to continue that practice for exactly what you were saying, for equity.
Yeah, okay. Cool, and apologies,
Joe, just so you know, the Area Z garden has been there for, jeepers, since 2019? I'd have to look. I think I have the original agreement here from when
We need
I
to-
spoke to this before. The Barnview one is much newer because we just weren't,
Change it from-
people wanted the space.
And we couldn't expand over there, so.
And that's why I was saying, I went down and actually looked to see have they,
Okay, we'll let.
because it's a
enlarge.
huge area compared to what they have now.
And I know it's a resource that a lot of people want access to, because I've heard folks trying to get into the garden club and there's just not enough plots for the amount of access that people want.
Is this a garden club over here too, this one? Oh, that's
Yeah,
one.
that's the-
Yeah, that's
Oh, okay,
the
just
Barnview one, that's the
Because you
Barnview
pointed that one,
one.
and I was just like, okay.
Area Z is over in maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been up there.
So that makes more sense, okay.
Tom?
Yeah, kind of on the same line as subsidizing private club with water. They are a private club, and we're beginning to incur attorney's fees.
Good point.
You know, is there a way to get compensated for that?
This is for us, so it's, no, I don't think we want to go there. I think we're fine with doing this, we'll get the wording corrected. for the Area Z or call it Plot 1. I get what you guys are saying, and then I'll talk to Joanne, because there is an area down here, it says per Area Z garden plot, but there's no mention of Area Z on the front, right? They took that out, Area Z.
Yes.
So we
Can
do
we
need to make a
Plot
couple.
1? Yeah.
Yeah, we can make a Plot 1.
The major
exactly.
thing is the area, to me, and
That
I was
can
just
happen.
gonna deny the new area. Because it's not, they didn't stake it, they didn't properly identify it, so you can't have it.
Well, the other concern then, and I can see the next question now when we bring this back, is, well, we've agreed to a watering fee, and now they're doubling their watering area. So that's gonna be the next question that will come around on the next turnaround.
And just for everybody who wasn't here last year,
Yeah.
the current people that are 50 plots use 300,000 gallons of water.
See.
It was measured,
It was?
cubic feet. It was measured, we didn't, but we had Mike put on a reader that if we read at the beginning of the, like April 1st or whatever, and then read it at the end of October or September, I believe, is when they take all their stuff out and quit watering. We can figure it out. Know that in, I think by February, our rates go up again. When we use water, and when you use water in your home, and we're treated the same way for the garden, if you use within so many cubic feet, you get base rate. Over that little amount, you get charged a different rate.
Mhm.
It keeps getting higher. When we reach the cubic feet that we're at, we're paying tons of money. So I would ask that if we're gonna put water reimbursement, I would put it at the end of each growing season, and that we would just simply say that it's $10 per plot, and that it's reviewed annually.
I don't know.
When they pay it doesn't matter, because we've said it's a fixed fee, but putting a clause in to review it annually makes a great deal of sense, so I've made a note to that effect.
Thank you.
Does that fixed fee, sorry, does that fixed fee, like, is that, obviously the 500, but does that cover that much water?
No, it covers half of it.
Covers
Okay,
half the water.
okay.
That was just, we kind of made that agreement, was it just for 1 year or 2 years?
It's like
Well, this is a five-year
Five-year
deal, so what I'm thinking now is we might need to address the wording, that if they're gonna double their size, if we're gonna approve them to double that, because Mike Brock also needs to sign off on that as his maintenance space. If that's agreed to, then we're gonna need to double that water fee.
Oh, I understand that, that's why I'm saying there's so much where I looked and when you go down and you actually stand there and you look at this new area, which according to their drawing, it goes all the way to the road.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
So I have one question I need somebody to answer. There are beehives down there.
Okay, we're talking about Lease right now.
I know.
So let's,
I understand that. I only saw them when I went to look at it. I don't know who I need to speak to on staff that can tell me about those beehives. They're closed down and closed up, but there's a whole gate there and everything. It's right before you get into, and I'm assuming they're just being used as pollinators.
yeah.
But I think if they're being only used as pollinators, they can't use the type of hives they're using.
Holy smokes, well, that's.
And they also have to be, here's where it gets, here's
Okay,
where
I
it
know, but we're
gets.
getting way off track.
I know,
We're
it
talking
gets
about the
touchy,
lease.
they have to be registered every year. They have to, and apply for it and I don't know who these people are, do you? Does
All
anybody?
right, we'll move on, we'll go to Tom then, Lori. Tom?
Yeah, just for Joe and Sean's benefit, there are 2 different clubs, and they each have a different water source.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
You're aware
Yes,
of that?
okay, yeah, yeah.
Lori?
Just a quick clarification for me.
Yes.
So let's say that they're gonna ask for additional space. So right now they have 50 and it's $10 times 50
Per
is
person,
500.
yeah.
If they add more space, they would be adding additional plots at $10 a plot for water, correct?
That's what I
So
think
it's
we need.
self-correcting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so they would, if they add 20 more plots, it would be.
but I think we need to
$200.
specify that.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, right,
We need to
but
be
that's,
specified.
it wouldn't just be more land and making each plot bigger. It would be additional plots.
I think it's, I think it's
Try to get rid of the
intended for
waiting list.
additional plot. I know, I'm
All
sorry.
right, so I'm gonna make a motion to table this.
Table or postpone?
Thank you, Sean.
Table or postpone?
We're gonna table this.
Okay.
No, it's Sean, thank you, sir. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, moving on to 8. Item number 8 is, well, we're moving over to the executive session. That was removed by the amended agenda. So item number 8, request for approval for Larson Gross IT consulting contract. You'll find that on page 33.
So Larson Gross IT has provided tech support to SPCA since 2012. At this time, a new agreement is required in order to remain compliant with current regulations. Over the course of our 14-year relationship, Larson Gross IT has performed well overall, ensuring that our IT resources are functional, safe, affordable, and available. I have found their staff to be knowledgeable and effective. Their costs are in line with or less than their competitors. I know that because I've worked in this area and I have many contacts in the industry, but I did not perform a request for proposal to determine that. Larson Gross also, as you may be aware, supplies SPCA with audit and tax preparation services. Very specific rules govern the relationship of an auditor with their clients. For this reason, it is important to have an agreement in place that specifically acknowledges or names the SPCA employee who is ultimately responsible for technology management and decision-making. This is discussed in the section labeled Independence, which is on page 4 of their agreement. Regarding the proposed agreement, Appendix A describes the scope of work that will be provided for a flat monthly fee. In addition to these services, we also procure Microsoft software licenses through Larson Gross IT. The charges listed will result in approximately the same cost for IT support as we are currently paying. The variable that drives IT costs is how much support we need each month, which is not predictable. The proposed agreement requires SPCA to purchase additional software licenses and to upgrade some of our current licenses. This will increase license costs for an individual user, but we have reduced the total number of licenses purchased to keep costs close to 2025 levels. The term of this agreement is 1 year with automatic renewal unless notice is given. And the agreement includes a 60-day mutual term clause that is not tied to the anniversary of the execution of the contract. The rest of these terms are generally standard and are consistent with our earlier agreements. For these reasons, I request that the SPCA Board of Directors approve the proposed consulting agreement with Larson Gross IT and authorize the General Manager to sign the agreement on our behalf.
Thank you, Joanne. All right, I'm going to read the motion and then we can get into questions. So motion move that the SPCA Board of Directors approve the proposed consulting agreement with LGIT, Larson Gross IT, and authorize the General Manager to sign the agreement on their behalf. On
On your behalf.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Tom. All right, questions?
Just one, what's the hypervisor? That's one of our covered systems.
F-Advisor?
There's 3 of them. There's the regular virtual machine file server, I get that. Then there's the virtual machine domain controller, I get that. But then there's a third one that is the hypervisor. Is that where they're connected to us or something somehow?
No.
No?
I can.
Go ahead.
A hypervisor is it's like a machine, it's like a type of computer that manages all the virtual machines, basically. It's something has to run all of those virtual machines,
Okay.
and that's what the
That's all I need, that's all I need to know.
I did have a question. So is this like a package that they, you know, you can't, I just see like AI consulting, I don't know if we actually use any of that stuff.
Well, as it indicates, they provide their letter is standard, the agreement is standard,
Okay.
standardized language. They provide all of these services, but not necessarily to a specific client. That's why Appendixes A and B are important.
Okay.
Appendix A is our scope of work, and Appendix B lists our specific assets, and it's that derives the cost. This front part is just terms.
Okay.
But they have all of it available.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I guess my only question is pricing. I mean, sure you reviewed it and you're comfortable.
Yeah, like I said, most of our cost in IT, I mean, we do obviously have fixed costs, and those are covered here, described here, how they're derived. But each month, we have tickets for Larson Gross, support tickets, problems we can't solve, questions we need to have answered. Sometimes we have special projects that we have to do. For example, in December, it was time to purchase software upgrades or renew our software licenses for our firewalls. And Larson Gross proposed that instead of doing that, we make the same investment in a different sort of hardware, which was easier to manage and wouldn't have to have renewable licenses. So that was all well and good, but we then had to pay them to configure and install the devices. So that was extra. They do offer an option where you get all of that at a fixed fee, but they're assuming a certain number of hours, and so this is actually better for us. But it's like anything, like if you want a fixed price,
And you never know.
you never know. Like if you have some disaster, then you make out.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then you're really paying a lot for the services. So I opted to go with the lower price of entry.
It seems like a great deal.
We'll just have to monitor our use,
Yeah.
is essentially what we're saying.
So as far as equipment, would it be like internet equipment and stuff like that too, or that they would be upgrading? Or?
We upgraded a small portion, just the firewalls for all of our,
Okay.
you know, we went to a different type of hardware, different approach. And ultimately this year, my intention is to migrate our on-prem servers to Azure.
Okay.
Because we currently maintain, we spend a lot of overhead on the VPN.
Yeah.
And it's a disaster. So it'd be so much better if we could just hit in the cloud. And the other advantage that gives us, and this is, I think, what's driving most small businesses to Azure or AWS, is that restore time is so much better. Right, so if somebody takes you hostage, you're like, okay, we're just gonna go restore.
That goes our business over here now for a while.
So there's a lot of advantages to that, and we would just retain our current server, which is relatively new as a domain controller. The IT group is sitting on this.
I was so excited to talk to them.
I have a question.
Yes, Gene.
It's Jean. Yeah, I have a question. So, is the price that we're getting tied also to are we getting a better deal because we're also using accounting and auditing services? I
No,
just find this an interesting mix of services they offer.
yeah, I think it's actually becoming awkward for them because
That's okay.
This is, the IT is a completely different company. I mean, it's them, but it's separate.
it's separate because they have a DBA, but
Yeah,
that's still the same company.
yeah, different people.
DBAs are a way of pretending you have firewall that you don't actually have, but not that I'm opinionated about that, but I actually don't think this model is sustainable, which is unfortunate because the team that they currently have at LGIT is really good. But I'm kind of I have a unique set of experiences and skills for a general manager. I can be ultimately the IT decision maker because I was an SVP of IT in a former life, right? So this is not hard, especially when they're so good and they keep up to date. But if another individual came in here, this might not be sustainable. So this year, I don't think it needs to be replaced, but I think we should take this year to look around and potentially consider moving to another vendor. Not because there's any lack of quality or any issue with them. It's just that because they provide our auditing services, it is a bit awkward. So,
Right.
good question.
Right.
All right, no other questions? I'm gonna read the motion one more time. I've changed there to SVCHB operator, so I'll read it as I change it and we'll vote on that. Move that the SVCA Board of Directors approve the proposed consulting agreement with LGIT and authorize the general manager to sign the agreement on SVCHB app.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Okay. Moving on to B8B, capital request replacement of the NH42 HP tractor, model number TN55. That'll be on page 50.
So at this time, we are requesting funding to replace the existing 2003 New Holland.
Oh, can I back up real quick? I'm sorry. I just would like to tell you guys ahead of time, all these things are already in our budget, okay? They've already been budgeted for, so just so you know. So hopefully there won't be a lot of questions on it all. Now you go ahead, sorry, John.
No worries. Yeah, we're looking to replace the existing 2003 New Holland tractor, which is formerly known as Asset 1064.
All right, I have to correct myself. B was not, was it? It was from C down.
B is budgeted, but it is a unique request.
Okay.
Items C through.
Yeah, I did C through F. I did parentheses on it. So.
Yeah, are standardized that we do every
I
year.
just wanted to be correct.
Yeah, no worries. And I'm presenting this on behalf of Greg, our turf care manager. All right, so the New Holland tractor has reached the end of its serviceable lifespan and is scheduled to be replaced this year in 2026. We budgeted $56,243 in the SURF, out of the SURF fund for this purchase. Turf care tractors are key pieces of equipment that need to be reliable. The existing New Holland tractor has a current hour meter reading of 3,983.2 hours, which is roughly equivalent to 350,000 miles of use. That's a lot of miles. Expenses for the unit have annually in maintenance have exceeded its current book value, and it's probably past time actually for replacing it. So Greg went out and he got quotes on 4 different tractors from 2 different suppliers, and those were included with the memo, so we could take a look. And he is suggesting that we purchase the Kubota. And this table here compares, what we needed as minimum requirements with what each of the models delivered, and then at the bottom summarizes the different quotes. So since several of the quotes for these models came from the same supplier, I asked Greg to call around and see if those models, that Brim is our agricultural supplier, very well regarded in this area, but I had him call to see if those models were priced differently at different suppliers, because Brim kind of has a lock in this area on certain models. So he called out of the area, and Brim's prices were competitive, so it's not like we could get a better deal somewhere else. So that's not documented, but I did ask him to take that extra step. Anyway, he's recommending, based on its capacity and its cost, that we go with a Kubota, and that would come from Schulten's, which is up in Linden. So my request is that the SVCA Board of Directors approve the purchase of a 2026 Kubota M5660 SUHD for an amount not to exceed $48,048, and authorize the turf care superintendent to work with the finance director to arrange the purchase.
Very good, thank you, Joanne. I'm going to read the motion now. Move that the SVCA Board of Directors approve the purchase of the 2026 Kubota M5660 SUHD for an amount not to exceed $48,048, and authorize the turf care superintendent to work with the finance director to arrange the purchase.
Second.
Thank you, Linda. Questions? We'll go, I think Tom, how, I don't know, but.
Is this to replace the blue front end loader tractor that we currently have?
Yeah, the New Holland's the blue one.
Yeah. Is there any way to know the specifications of that tractor and how they can compare to these 4 that we're looking at?
Nope.
They're kind of listed on the memo of the differences. Definitely the New Holland we have has a higher loader capacity.
Yeah, you can
Has a
see that
larger
New Holland on the
transmission.
table.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can see
And a
that.
different model number.
Yeah.
That's a
Who
new.
had, was it Linda next?
Yeah, the only question I had is, are we going to continue to use our existing New Holland, or are we going to resell it or I see that they gave us a discount, I'm assuming that's not for a trade-in.
That's what I was wondering, is it trade-in, are we selling this thing, or are we keeping it?
The book value is so low that they wouldn't accept it as a trade. It would have to be sold on the private market, and that is possible, but it just takes longer, is my
And we
understanding.
have to store it and stuff. So what is the plan to get rid of it, do you know?
To do that,
To do what?
to sell it on the private market.
Okay, because I know we have a lot of equipment over in Barn 6 that I talked to you about previously that I'd like to probably do the same thing then, or decide what we're doing with it.
Yeah.
Very good. Any other questions? Because I had the same question there, so thank you, Linda.
Yeah.
Like minds, great minds,
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
I,
unanimous.
Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you.
You bought a tractor. You bought a tractor.
When do we get to take rides?
Okay,
Okay,
now, go ahead. We'll go to item C, which is capital request for the 2026 on-call engineering. You can
Right.
find that on page 56. Joanne?
yeah, so as a preamble to the next 4 items, these have become standard requests each year. We use on-call engineering to acquire the services of professional engineers for unanticipated damage or issues that arise outside of our planned capital improvements. Things like technical evals, preliminary engineering, and permitting support. Our infrastructure is pretty old, and so we can reckon on several emergency issues and cropping up each year. But before we dive into that first one anymore, what I'd like to say is that these are very standard requests. They happen every year, and they are in the budget for the amounts stated.
Every January.
Yeah, so that's that. Anyway, to get back to on-call engineering, we are asking that you authorize $44,995 as identified in SVCA's 2026 budget from roads for on-call engineering services. Funds will be administered by the maintenance and facilities manager. In addition, we're asking that you authorize the leftover 2025 on-call engineering balance, which is currently reported under SVCA Capital Code 9925.2, to be added at the end of January. So what we're saying there is we currently have that balance in there, which is approximately, they didn't say here, it's just about 10 grand, I think, to carry over. But we don't know if there are any
Yeah, exactly.
Bills invoices that are gonna come in. So we would do that at the end of January when everything from 2026 is in, and then move the balance.
We're not paying them for like the on-call service, or is that what this is for?
We are giving the maintenance manager a fund
Okay,
from our capital reserve
okay,
that he can then draw on at need. So
gotcha.
I don't have to call you all for an emergency meeting when a bridge washes out
Totally.
or a culvert collapses.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure if this was like a payment to like an agreement for on-call
No,
services.
it's not a specific payment, it's to fund
Gotcha.
The fund-
activities should they arise. And as you can
Yeah,
see, we didn't spend everything from this year, so we're rolling that forward. Now, I do have one thing to say about the request to roll the funds forward. As we discussed last time we met, when we reviewed the financial statements, our funds are tight this year. So you may choose as a group not to give us the unused funds from last year. Instead, direct that they be returned to the general roads reserve fund. That would increase slightly the roads reserve fund and still give us the amount that we thought we needed from the budget. That would be a reasonable and conservative approach to take. Our standard approach has been to maximize our investment in infrastructure. And that's also a wise thing to do, but because our financial position and our cash on hand is lower, and that I guess I understand I'm talking about operations and capital, and they are really very separate things, but generally speaking, a more conservative approach to our finances may be indicated. And so while I'm making the request, just as we have in previous years, to roll that balance forward, the board, after some discussion or consideration, could certainly vote not to do that, if you don't feel it's
Then we don't know what we won't know what those actual funds are until we know all the invoices and any outstanding.
As of October, there was only $1,295 left over unspent of that fund.
Yeah,
We had
some of the
another
other
financials
leftovers
last
are
month.
bigger. I think the total is just like 10 grand or something. But it's not a lot, but better than
I'm
zero.
just, yeah, but I'm just saying, it's not like, I could say if it was like $10,000 or $20,000, you might think about it, but it's just, we've used most of it. It's a fund that really is actively used.
Of course, and it's not like we're
Yeah.
wasting it.
Yeah,
We only use it
absolutely.
if it's needed, but I'm just pointing that out because I do want to continue to emphasize fiscal responsibility and cautiousness.
Thank you. I'm gonna read the motion. Move that the Board of Directors approve the allocation, so there's two motions here. So the
Yes.
first motion is just gonna be the budgeted amount moved over. So move that the Board of Directors approve the allocation of $44,995 from roads for on-call engineering services in 2026, with funds to be administered by the Maintenance and Facilities Manager.
Second.
Thank you, Linda. Any questions on that? That's the standard funding that is budgeted for that we do. Any questions from anyone? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. I'm gonna read motion 2 now. That has to pertain with the excess funds. That's whatever, we don't know what that would be. Move that the Board of Directors approve the balance of funds in Capital Code 9925.2 to be added, that's from the 2025 balance, to be added to the $44,995 in Capital Code 9925.2 to be closed out with a zero balance.
Second.
Thank you, Linda. Questions on that? Are we in favor of moving them over? All in favor? That's a yes?
Jean?
Yeah, I guess so we're voting to go ahead and rolling it over into the rest of the capital funds,
Yes. Just to be used on on-call engineering.
on-call engineering.
Yep,
Yeah.
Tom?
No, yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, so that ended up being unanimous. All right, thank you very much. Moving on to item number D, 18, capital request for the 2026 fast response. You'll find that on page 58. And that's a huge number.
Yeah, SVCA's 2026 budget includes $95,613 for fast response for unforeseen road and drainage issues. This budget item is in place to cover unexpected road and drainage issues that can occur throughout the year. For example, damages that occur as a result of a flood, large storm, existing drainage that fails unexpectedly, etc. The background of this is that in 2022, SVCA began investing heavily to restore SVCA's drainage system to the original 1970s construction design, and over the past few years have continued this restoration. SVCA has cleared and established positive drainage at all culverts previously known, located over 100 additional culverts, etc. It was hard. They like to emphasize that. Every year we continue to improve the infrastructure. The risk of existing infrastructure failing unexpectedly goes down, but we still have some. Even with the recent improvements, only about 10% of our ditches have been restored. It's important, they feel, to maintain the budget item and have it available on an annual basis to cover unexpected issues. So the request is that $95,613 from roads for the 2026 fast response for unforeseen roads and drainage issues project, with the funds being administered by SVCA's Maintenance and Facilities Manager. The Maintenance and Facilities Manager determines when SVCA staff can complete the work versus when one of the on-call contractors will be brought in. That's the first request. And the second one is to authorize the General Manager to execute SVCA's standard construction contract with the 3 recommended on-call contractors on a time and materials basis. per the proposal dated January 12th from PNW. So we're choosing Stremler, Strider, and Western Refinery. These proposals were delivered to us as the result of putting the on-call or the on-call contractors out to bid. And so that we choose based on people's best price. And we have a range of contractors because one might not be immediately available. So this gives us a little bit of flexibility in an emergency.
Thank you, Joanne. I'll read the motion. To move that the SVCA Board of Directors approve the allocation of $95,613 from roads for the 2026 fast response for unseen roads and drainage issues project. The maintenance and facilities manager will be responsible for the distribution of funds and determining when SVCA staff can complete the work, first one to bring in one of the on-call contractors.
Second.
Thank you, Linda. Questions?
Comment.
Linda first, then Ray.
Well, before we only had $1,295 left in the on-call. However, on the fast response, we have a remaining balance as of October, $66,758.
That's spent down.
It's spent, that's the best, this is the newest we've got.
Yeah. Well,
So you've used all this already?
yes.
Interesting. Make a note about
Hey,
that.
Ray.
When we get to see the
So-
Decembers.
I'm thinking that we're coming up with the 95,000 or 95,613 because of previous fast response stuff that we've had to do or emergency stuff, or is this just an estimated what we're prepared for?
This is a number that was approved in the budget.
It was, but to get to that number, we've had previous.
We always spend the money because we use, if we haven't spent the money on an emergency issue, the remaining funds are used to further improve the existing drainage system. So as we said in the memo, only 10% of our ditches have been restored.
Yeah.
So
It will get used.
And that's why, to Linda's point, we still had a balance in October because we didn't know if something was going to break.
Yeah.
But as we get closer to the end of the year, we see that we have funds available. They use them to, maintenance uses those funds to continue to proactively improve elements of our drainage system. And I would like to point out that this strategy has been extremely successful because back in 2021, when the flood occurred, we got a specific volume of water, I don't remember in a specific course of time, but we were approaching those same levels at that last flooding incident, and we saw nowhere near the amount of water and damage from water because the drainage system was working as it was designed to work. So continuing to invest in that is very good value for the money.
Ray?
The pre-planning too, is I got a knock on my door from Jim the other day. They're planning on doing culvert in our neighborhood.
Ray, just so you
Any other
know,
questions? Tom?
can I answer his question about monies and how we determine how much it is? Just so you know, Ray, 2025, we did a request like this for $91,936, so we're always trying to increase a little bit, just so you know.
Okay.
Tom?
Yeah, I'm not criticizing anybody, I just thought we would be further along than 10% of the restoration work. Is there any way to forecast how much longer we're gonna have to be doing restoration work?
Well,
Recognizing it's always gonna need maintaining.
I would just say, when they started this, look, they've already found 100 additional culverts that they didn't plan, so whatever, even if they had forecasted something then, and I imagine there's probably still some out there that haven't been unearthed yet, right? But I'll let Joanne, if you have an answer to that, but.
I do. The 10-year roads and drainage plan was written in 2024, right? It was approved in 2023, and then we actually executed it in 2024. And that began with an inspection where impact design examined and inspected literally every culvert that we knew about, as well as the extra 100 we discovered along the way, and they walked every mile of road to inspect. All of those inspections were loaded into a database. We used that database along with their recommendations for the prioritization of fixes to determine the roads budget. Okay. To prepare for that inspection, we had to clean out all the culverts, and we invested as an association about $500,000 in that effort. That was a big cost, a big ticket item. And it's the culverts that manage a lot of the water, obviously. So in that 10-year plan is actually repeated every 5 years. We project out 10 years because our budget requires that. But we know that you can't wait around for 10 years to do another assessment, right? It's like taking your car in, you know, for repairs, and then they say it's okay, and you're like, okay, I'm done with that. Well, no, I mean, you have to go back and look again. So it's in our roads budget to redo the 10-year plan 5 years after 2024, so that's 2029. And at that time, different recommendations may be made. And we have to wait for those recommendations because we don't know how the actions we've already taken have affected the infrastructure. But because of the detailed notes that they have on literally every element of the roadways and the drainage stormwater systems, they will be able to know that after they finish their inspection and understand the impact that those early improvements have made. So I would not recommend changing any part of this. It's worked super well.
For a question of clarity, regarding the 10%, with the way you're describing the plan, that would imply that we're tackling sort of the biggest priority things first. So 10%, yes, but like probably the largest priorities, which are taking up a huge amount of budget, and as we get to the smaller priorities, less and less budget as we go. But, assuming the plan goes to plan, but okay, that helps me understand the 10%. Like it's 10% of a mountaintop, which is huge. Okay.
Yeah, and also we did all the culverts because we had to inspect them, and you could just look at the ditch, right? So you, whatever.
You started at my house, may I say.
And for the team, I will say that like after this last huge flood scare, we handled it really, really well.
Yeah.
That was a huge comment I heard from a lot of the neighborhood is like everyone was really worried that it would be much worse, and we seem to have skated by a little bit. So major kudos to the team for investing in that and getting that worked out because I think it saved all us games this season.
Good job. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Okay, I'm gonna read motion 2. All right, move that the SVCA Board of Directors authorize the general manager to execute the on-call and materials contracts utilizing SVCA standard construction contract with Stemler Gravel, Inc., Strider Construction Company, Inc., and Western Refinery, Inc.
Second.
Thank you, Linda. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. A lot of paperwork in there. All right,
The
moving
next
on.
one,
Go ahead.
the next one is capital request for the 2026 ditches, culverts, and swales, commonly known as CDC. The 2016 special general meeting required Sun Valley Community Association to perform major maintenance on ditches, culverts, and swales on an annual basis. A memo from Larson Gross from December of 2015 outlined the work that could be completed under this program. Since 2016, this project has been called Culvert and Vegetation Control, hence CVC. From 2016 to 2021, most of the work completed under this project was focused on vegetation. In 2022, the program was expanded to include culverts and swales, as was originally mandated in the 2016 SGM. The memo details exactly what work was done, talks a little bit about the 10-year plan that we just reviewed, and leads us to the proposal, which is that the board authorized $135,546 for 2026's CVC project as identified in the roads budget. In addition, we'd like to ask the board to authorize that the remaining 2025 fast response balance in Capital Code 9925.1 be added to the new fund at the end of January. After invoices are received in January, this amount is anticipated to be approximately $20,000. The maintenance and facilities manager would be responsible for project oversight and management of funds. Funding breakdown is proposed to be about $69,807 to be used to offset the labor spent by SPCA's maintenance department, $85,739 for outside contractors, utilizing again that on-call contractor list, $155,546 total of project funds. And that amount includes the approximately $20,000 balance that still remains in Capital Code 9925.1. So, requests $135,546 from roads for the 2026 ditches, culverts, and swales project, with funds to be administered by the maintenance and facilities manager. And then request the project funds from the 2025 fast response SPCA Capital Code 9925.1 be added to this capital request and Capital Code 9925.1 to be closed out with a zero balance at the end of January.
So again, we have two motions here. I'll read the first one. Move that the Board of Directors approve the allocation of $135,546 from roads for the 2026 ditches, culverts, and swales, also known as CBC, project with funds to be administered by the maintenance and facilities manager.
Second.
Thank you, Joe. Who was Joe?
Sean.
No, it was Sean. Okay. Thank you, guys. I have one question. How confident are we that all our invoices will be in by the end of January?
Oh, very confident.
Okay. All right, all in favor? Or is there any questions? Excuse me, and then we'll go to vote. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, motion number 2, move that the Board of Directors approve the balance of the funds in Capital Codes 9925.1, approximately $20,000 to be added to, by the end of January, to be added to the 2026 CVC budget of $135,546 and Capital Code 9925.1 be closed out with a zero balance at the end of January.
Second.
Who got that, Tom? Thank you,
Yeah.
Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous.
My personal favorite, potholes and minor road repairs.
Personal favorite.
Included in SBCA's 2026 roads budget is a line item of $39,370 for pothole repairs. Beginning in 2023, this line item was expanded to include minor road repairs along with pothole restoration. As potholes are identified, maintenance fills them temporarily with cold patch, and then once they have enough to make it worthwhile, they complete permanent asphalt repairs. This includes removal of the failed asphalt, subgrade prep, placement of new asphalt, and sealing the edges. In addition, Sudden Valley's maintenance department can also complete minor road repairs as part of this scope. Minor road repairs are projects that don't require contractor expertise, specialized equipment, permits, or anything that's large scale. So we do things like repairing washed out shoulders, painting stop bars at intersections, painting parking lots, replacing broken street signs, stabilizing ditches, et cetera, et cetera. The 2026 budget for this is $39,370. I propose that the board authorize $39,370 from roads for SBC's maintenance department to complete pothole and minor road repairs in 2026.
All right, I'll read the motion. Move that the Board of Directors approve the allocation of $39,370 from roads for potholes and minor road repairs in 2026.
Second that.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous.
Drivers and cars of Sudden Valley, thank you.
I just need to do all the foggy lines.
All right, make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:22 p.m.
This is your record. Second that.
Who was that, John?
Yeah.
Lori, still got that box? So does Diana.
Uh-huh.
So